So people saying Memphis rapper Fast Cash C Money just passed.
I'm finna make everybody regret playing with me.
If I love you, I'm in love with you. I don't give a fuck how many times we get it, we bump heads.
That's real.
You make me mad, I'm in love with you. Don't down with me.
So Big Boogie just slipped up and basically hinted that C Money might not have just been another victim of Memphis violence. He might have been set up, and who's at the center of it all? None other than his label boss, Yo Gotti. Boogie isn't playing loyal soldier anymore. He's throwing shots straight at CMG and making it clear he's ready to walk away from the whole empire. He made it crystal clear when he exposed the real reason C Money got left out in the cold, and who actually benefited the most from his death. Boogie didn't just spill tea on CMG's inside politics, he dropped a bomb that could blow the entire label sky high. The message couldn't be louder. CMG's foundation is cracking, and Boogie doesn't plan to stick around to watch it collapse. But the question that's driving everyone crazy is this: was C Money's death just another Memphis street hit, or the ultimate betrayal from inside his own camp? This whole firestorm lit up after Big Boogie posted a strange little video on social media. He didn't even show his face, but his tone said everything. He wanted someone to know they crossed the line, and he was promising regret. At first, fans were confused, trying to piece it together, but then Boogie doubled down with a cryptic IG story that spelled it out. He wrote, "I'm focusing on my daughter, myself, and my career. I ain't letting nobody get in my way. It's gonna be 2026. I'm changing day by day as a man. People barely ask me about my mental. I barely even talk to anybody now. I don't care to. Everybody that ever played with me before made me this way. Today I'm focused because I see a bigger picture of my own life, numb and grinding." He didn't drop names. No Yo Gotti, no C Money, but he didn't have to. The shade was loud enough, and fans connected the dots instantly. For weeks, people had whispered that C Money's death felt way too clean, way too precise, and when Boogie openly admitted he was numb, detached, and done with the games, it gave fans the confirmation they were waiting for, and it blew the whole situation wide open. Now, let's rewind. Fast Cash C Money was taken out during a shootout in the Fraser neighborhood of Memphis. At first, it looked like another senseless tragedy, the kind of street violence the city knows all too well. But when the raw, unedited footage dropped online, it shifted everything. Suddenly, it didn't look random anymore. Now it looked surgical, like someone had marked him. That little detail was all it took for the internet detectives to dig deeper. And what they found turned the case upside down. Because apparently, C Money himself felt the storm coming weeks before he was gone, and instead of moving reckless, he made sure his girlfriend and kids wouldn't be left empty-handed. That's not a man caught off guard. That's a man who knew something bigger was at play. That's why C Money had been grinding non-stop, trying to lock in that deal with Yo Gotti and finally stamp his spot on CMG. But here's where it gets real messy. According to sources, he didn't just rely on rap dreams. He went and got himself a life insurance policy as a backup plan for his girlfriend and kids. Now that alone already raised eyebrows, but what came after his death left people speechless. Because instead of being covered and secure, his girlfriend Kaya ended up making a GoFundMe just to cover his funeral and scrape together something for their children. She even posted the link on Facebook with a heartbreaking tribute that read, "Courtney taught me so much, so happy we got to love on each other. You took my heart with you for real. All I can do is play your music to hear your voice." That post had fans in shock because how could a man who planned ahead like that still leave his family in that kind of situation?
They just said my got killed.
The whispers only got louder when a leaked document supposedly tied to C Money's CMG contract surfaced on Reddit days after his death. It hinted he was set to receive an undisclosed payout connected to the label. But when the time came, that money magically disappeared like smoke in the wind. And that's not the only part that rubbed fans the wrong way. People expected Yo Gotti to step up even just a little for C Money's family. After all, CMG affiliation painted a target on his back, whether he asked for it or not. But from Gotti? Nothing. No posts, no shoutouts, no money, no flowers, not even a simple acknowledgement. The silence was so loud, it came off like confirmation of what everyone had been whispering, that maybe C Money's death wasn't just another tragedy, but a sacrifice with his family left out in the cold. And don't forget the timeline. The craziest part of all this is that C Money had just signed to CMG literally the day before he got taken out. The leaked footage shows him and his friends celebrating the new contract, happy and carefree, until a car suddenly pulled up and unleashed bullets. Hours after popping bottles, he was gone, and that's why fans say none of this feels like coincidence. It feels like a setup. According to police reports, multiple houses got sprayed during the shootout and yet somehow only C-Money lost his life. Coincidence? Or was the chaos just a cover-up while the real mission was to take him out? That's where this story stops being just suspicious and turns downright terrifying. Because here's the thing, C-Money was already building a buzz before Yo Gotti ever brought him into CMG. That contract was supposed to catapult him into the big leagues, but what he eventually figured out was that he and Gotti weren't moving with the same vision. C-Money wanted structure, meetings, documents, rollout plans, in like a real career play. Meanwhile, Gotti seemed more interested in what C-Money could bring to the label, not what the label could bring to him, and the red flags didn't stop there. What really rattled him was how shady things got once he saw Gotti's true colors. Anybody tapped into Memphis street politics knows the deadly tension between Yo Gotti's CMG camp and Young Dolph's PRE crew. That feud ran so deep it split the entire city. After Dolph's murder, the spotlight immediately turned toward Gotti and his brother Big Jook. Rumors flew that Big Jook might have even been the one to order the hit. That's why every move CMG made was under a microscope, and when Hernandez Govan, a man closely tied to Big Jook, got arrested in connection to Dolph's killing, the whispers only got louder. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Big Jook himself got taken out in an eerily similar hit. Some said it was karma, others said it was straight up revenge, but one thing was clear, CMG's world was unraveling fast. And right in the middle of that storm was Yo Gotti, running CMG like a mob boss. For years, he's built his brand on control, demanding loyalty above everything, and setting himself up like the king of the castle. In that world, disrespecting the boss doesn't mean losing your spot. It could mean losing everything. And while most of his artists fell in line, the cracks were starting to show. And C-Money wasn't blind to any of it. CMG once looked untouchable, with stars like Glorilla, 42 Doug, Moneybag Yo, and Black Youngsta all riding high.
How I feel right now? 100%. I don't fuck with nobody. And I'm finna make everybody regret playing with me. That's all I gotta say.
For a while, they had the kind of roster every label in the South wanted, but everything shifted after Young Dolph's murder. That mob boss energy people used to respect in Yo Gotti suddenly became a reminder of how deep the streets really ran inside his camp. One by one, CMG's artists started fading from the spotlight, and now the only one keeping the lights on is Glorilla. And let's be real, one hot artist can't hold up a whole empire forever. This was not the dynasty Gotti pictured when he first built CMG, so he started moving different. Laying low, posting less, and quietly revising contracts behind the scenes. Word is, he was working overtime to flip the narrative back in his favor. And part of that meant cutting off anyone who didn't fall in line. Take Black Youngsta, for example. He's always been Gotti's most loyal soldier, the muscle, the one who handled what Gotti wouldn't dare touch himself. That kind of loyalty made him valuable when CMG leaned into that mob-style image. But now with Gotti trying to rebrand and clean up, Black Youngsta's reputation turned from asset to liability. Gotti needed fresh faces to show the world a different image of CMG, and that's where C-Money got pulled in. But here's the catch. Gotti didn't want C-Money for his artistry alone. Behind the smiles and paperwork, there was a darker plan brewing. At first, C-Money ignored the warning signs, thinking it was just label politics. But once Gotti's shady moves started stacking up, he realized he'd made the biggest mistake of his career by linking with CMG. Not only did it put him in the crosshairs of Gotti's enemies, it might have put him in danger inside the label itself. Because the truth was, Yo Gotti wasn't really hunting for a new star. He was playing a much bigger, colder game. Yo Gotti wasn't looking for another superstar. He was looking for an escape plan. And C-Money was the one who fit the role. When news broke about Fast Cash C-Money's death, the whole CMG camp looked shaken, but no one took it harder than Big Boogie. His grief was raw from the very first post he dropped. He wrote, "C-Money Smith Jesus brother, I'm hurt to my heart, my favorite rapper from day one. I'm hurt about you, boy." But Boogie didn't just mourn, he spiraled. The loss hit him so hard he even canceled his own birthday bash in Memphis. On Facebook he wrote, "I'm straight on Memphis. Birthday bash canceled. You guys lame forever," tagging C-Money with crying emojis. It wasn't a long post, but it didn't need to be. The pain was obvious. And to insiders, it read like more than just grief. It looked like Boogie was pulling back to avoid becoming the next target. Fans immediately backed his decision in the comments, with people writing things like, "That was a good idea, bro, you just saved people's lives." Another added, "He threw a pool party in my city, Atlanta, cause he knew if he would have did it in Memphis, it would have went sour." Do Your Birthday Bash and Atlanta gang people weren't just sympathizing, they were confirming that the streets felt way too hot for Boogie to risk celebrating in his own city. But what made fans uneasy was the way Boogie kept dropping strange, cryptic messages after C-Money's death. In one post, he warned, "Everybody finna regret what they did," and said, "Watch this." In another, he wrote, "Going silent is my final warning." At first, folks brushed it off as emotional venting, but once C-Money was gone and Gotti started acting suspiciously quiet, those posts started looking less like random thoughts and more like chilling warnings. And just when people thought it couldn't get darker, Stan G popped up in an interview and threw gasoline on the fire. He straight up told Black Youngsta and the rest of CMG to watch their backs, because in his words, Yo Gotti has no problem cutting people off not just from the label, but from life itself. That comment shook fans to their core because it fed right into the narrative that what happened to C-Money wasn't random at all. Stan G's warning hit different because it lined up perfectly with what people had been whispering for years. Yo Gotti runs CMG like a mafia boss. On the surface, it looks like a record label, but behind closed doors, it's more like a syndicate where loyalty isn't optional. It's survival. And once Stan G said that Gotti had no issue cutting folks off from life itself, fans started piecing the puzzle together in a way that gave everyone chills. Think about it. C-Money signs his big deal, celebrates with his people, and hours later he's gone. Big Jook gets taken out in a similar way not long after. Now Boogie's throwing out cryptic warnings like he knows what's coming next. That's not just bad luck, that feels like a pattern. And in a city like Memphis, where the line between rap politics and street politics is paper thin, patterns like that don't just happen by chance. For years, Gotti built his reputation on power and control. He demanded loyalty and rewarded it with protection. But when that loyalty wavered, people either vanished from the label or vanished for real. Some fans say that's why so many CMG artists either go silent, disappear from the spotlight, or pop up with tension surrounding them. Because when you're under that kind of family rule, speaking out could cost you way more than a career. And that's why Boogie's behavior is being analyzed under a microscope. His canceled shows, his emotional posts, his sudden distance from Memphis, it all looks like a man who knows exactly how dangerous the game has become. Add Stan G's chilling words into the mix, and fans are convinced of one thing: nobody inside CMG is untouchable, not even the ones closest to Gotti. That's why the spotlight has now shifted heavy onto Big Boogie, and not in a good way. Fans are starting to whisper that Boogie himself might be next in line.
Dealing with them Texas boys, them folk got hit up. Them folk got hit up everywhere you go to, like the Fed watching. You know what I'm talking about? He signed that boy over here, that boy ended up going to jail. So they watching that boy so close right now because they you know what I'm talking about? The case is in August. You know what I'm talking about? I talked to Govan. I did an interview with Hernandez Govan, the dude who set the whole, supposedly, you know what I'm saying, dog murder up.
The timing of his cryptic posts, his decision to distance himself from Memphis, and the way he's been moving all scream like a man who knows something is brewing behind the scenes. And the paranoia isn't just coming from outsiders. Even people close to the situation have been hinting that Boogie's honesty could put him in danger. Remember, he's the one who openly mourned C-Money in a way that didn't sound scripted or label approved. He sounded broken, fed up, and ready to call out anyone standing in his way. And if Yo Gotti really is playing by mob boss rules, then breaking rank like that is a dangerous move. Fans on social media have been connecting the dots and warning him directly. One comment read, "Boogie better lay low, cause they not gonna let him keep talking like that." Another wrote, "They already did C-Money wrong, I hope Boogie don't be next." Those messages might sound like conspiracy theories to some, but in Memphis, where rap beefs have a real body count, people don't throw those warnings around lightly. And here's what makes it scarier. Boogie hasn't denied any of it. Instead, he's doubled down with more eerie messages about staying numb, staying focused, and keeping his circle small. It's almost like he's speaking in code, letting people know he sees the storm coming. And when you add Stan G's warning into the mix about how Gotti cuts people off from life itself, fans can't help but believe Boogie is walking a razor-thin line between survival and becoming the next headline. All of this has people saying the same thing. CMG isn't looking like a record label anymore, it's looking like a battlefield ready to implode. The empire that once had the whole South in a chokehold is now wobbling, and Big Boogie's words might just be the match that burns it all down. Think about it. Gotti's star roster is fading one by one, his right-hand man Big Jook is gone, and his name is still tangled up in Dolph's murder whispers. Now with Boogie throwing shade and refusing to play by the script, CMG doesn't look like a tight unit anymore. It looks fractured, unstable, and vulnerable. And when a crew built on fear starts to show cracks, the whole foundation is at risk of collapsing. Fans aren't blind to the shift either. Some are saying Boogie's cryptic posts are his way of exposing the truth without saying it directly. Others believe he's already marked, just biding his time before he cuts ties for good. Either way, his silence, his canceled shows, and his refusal to fall in line are sending a message louder than any diss track ever could. He's done protecting Gotti, done protecting CMG, and he's ready to move on even if it costs him everything. That warning hit like a bombshell, and it dropped right when CMG was still reeling from C-Money's death. Suddenly, all the attention locked on Big Boogie, the only one bold enough to keep sliding hints out and demanding answers that nobody else dared to ask. But here's the scary part. If Yo Gotti really did have a hand in C-Money's downfall, then what makes Boogie untouchable? His silence right now doesn't look like peace. It looks like survival, like he's buying time while the countdown ticks. And the thought of Gotti scouting for his next fall guy has fans biting their nails, because if history repeats itself, Boogie could be walking straight into the same deadly trap C-Money never escaped. And so now the debate has shifted. It's not just about whether C-Money was sacrificed, it's whether Big Boogie just painted a target on his own back by refusing to play quiet.